In this video, I'm going to be talking about 70 to 200mm lenses and why I think they are perfect for event videography. Here's the story. Recently, I helped out a local video producer with a wedding project that he had. And normally I don't shoot weddings, but I thought for something a little bit different, I'd help him out and try out my 70 to 200mm lens with the project. Here is some of the footage that I captured with my 70 to 200mm lens. And as you can see, it's a great lens to be able to capture moments that you might not really be able to capture otherwise. If you're on a 24 to 70mm lens or a 24 to 105mm lens, you might find yourself a little bit closer to the subject, and then the subject is aware that you are there and you won't be able to get those authentic real life moments that you're wanting for your video. And that's why I find that the 70 to 200mm lens is the perfect focal range to be able to capture these moments. I personally use Sony cameras, and this was all shot on the Sony FX6 with the Sony 70 to 200mm f2.8 GM2 lens. Now, if you're aware of this lens, you will know that it is not a cheap lens, and in the past I have used the Canon 2.8 Mark II version, but when I swapped over to Sony, I then actually purchased the Sony 70 to 200mm f4 lens. And what I liked about that lens was it was smaller and lighter than the f2.8 Canon lens that I had been using. But what I didn't love about that lens was that it was only an f4 lens. And I was wanting to have that f2.8 just to have that little bit extra light. Now, the price difference between the f4 and the Sony f2.8 version 2 lens was quite significant. And to date, the Sony 70 to 200mm f2.8 OSS version 2 lens is the most expensive lens that I own, but I do see it as an investment because I do get a lot of use out of this lens. It's not a lens that just sits in my bag and never gets used. I'm constantly taking it out and putting it on my cameras to be able to capture the footage that I need to at the events that I'm at. So would a 70 to 200mm lens be useful for you? Well, if you're wanting to be able to capture people's reactions and emotions and not be too close to them, then having this 70 to 200mm lens would be perfect for your projects. The current lens that I'm using is the Sony 70 to 200mm f2.8 OSS GM version 2 lens, and it is quite expensive, but if you're wanting the best of the best, I highly recommend this lens. It is a great investment. You'll buy once, cry once, and then you'll have a lens that is going to be constantly making money for you going forward in your video production career. However, if you are a hobbyist and you don't make money from the equipment that you are purchasing and you own, I would suggest using the f4 lens. It is still a great lens. It's smaller, it's lighter, and it still gets a great image. It's just not the best of the best, but you do save a significant amount of money. And that's the video. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to this channel for more videos on video creation in the future.